not partisan lines on anything doesn't. Hey,
I know.
Verlie Suggs is here. It's a Tuesday. It's going to be 41 degrees. It's going to have the big melt. Let's take a call before we take a break. Hey, you are on the air. How are you?
Good morning, Jed. Good morning, Verlie.
Good morning.
Jed, can I have a little due diligence and talk to Verlie? I sent Verlie and you both a video last night of the council meeting of the water Hammond rate hikes. So this is how it goes. I'm going to cut it down real quick. And the video is in YouTube under Perry Stabler or MX Cartoons or No Mcdermott for Congress. So what happened, Mcdermott, more or less, he said he got spanked by the big boys. So what happens in this class action lawsuit, the Hammond citizens will be stuck with the 400% water rate increase, while surrounding communities will have a 200% increase. And how the 200% increase was lower for the surrounding communities, because their argument, Mcdermott calls it class, it's actually a class action lawsuit. So like Highland, Griffith, Munster, Dyer, and Whiting said, we don't have to pay for your infrastructure like Knickerbocker and other streets in Hammond. So it was ruled that they're only buying water, that they shouldn't have to pay for infrastructure. So that's why the surrounding communities only got 200% increase.
Hold on a second.
No, just let me finish.
No. We have to clarify here. And I saw your video, and I appreciate you sending, but you put all this like stuff on the bottom, so I'll just play the audio and not the video, because I don't know. But I don't quite understand. I know that Hammond was trying to raise the rates on the surrounding communities by 430% or something like that, right?
Right, and that happened.
All right, and so now there's a class action lawsuit, and there was some sort of an agreement already? That seems very quickly.
Now what happens is, the big boys strong-armed them, and there was legislation put in that McDermott's Hammond Shadow Water Company, utility water company, would have to pay $100 million back to Illinois. So what happened, Ed Soliday gets in, and he gets a hold of McDermott about this legislation that could have been in. It's all in the video. That could Hammond and McDermott said it himself. Will have to pay $100 million back to the Illinois water system. So that's where the big boys strong-armed him. So
there's something going on here, and I'm going to play this, play part of the video, because I don't know anything about the class action lawsuit or the settlement.
From the cities.
I understand that they were all coming. The people around, like Munster, Highland, Whiting, maybe Dyer, everybody was upset about this just unilateral water increase. And we're talking about tone deaf. All this stuff's going on, and we got a bunch of lawyers going back and forth between Hammond and all of the surrounding communities are fighting each other. And now I understand it was a class action lawsuit. This is a complete mess. I get that. And it looks like there is some sort of a settlement. Why we have to fight each other like this. But the second part is, I listened to this twice, and McDermott says that there's somebody that is behind trying to take $100 million away from Hammond, and he says he knows who it is.
Exactly.
And who is it? We need to know that too.
Yes, Jed, I'm glad you brought that up, because I can't remember everything being older. But me as a taxpayer, okay, I want to know who this person is that was going to make the legislation that McDermott, with his water shadow utility company, would have to pay $100 million back to Illinois.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make, there's somebody locally who would want to do that to Hammond, and McDermott says he knows who it is, and that person, according to the mayor, put some legislation on Ed Soliday's desk. That's a big news story right there.
That's the big boys. But if you remember, shadow government, that came from Munster during the train. Shadow utility, shadow government was Justin Murphy said that. I couldn't tape back then, but I know he said it about the train shadow government.
All right. Do you have anything else? And I appreciate, I mean, people send me stuff all the time, but was this last night?
Yes. That I cut the most important parts on. Mcdermott went on for 15 minutes. But the thing is, the surrounding communities that I mentioned actually only going to pay 200% because they just want the water.
Well, don't you think that's right, MX? Though, don't you think that it's just like you go and buy a car? You're paying for the price of the car, not because the dealer wants to remodel.
You're exactly right, Verlie. But that legislation sent to the big boy strong darn, that legislation sent to Ed Soliday, where you'd get Mcdermott would have to pay $100 million back because he was running a shadow utility company. So that's where they got him. And if you listen to the whole video, McDermott said that this could have went on forever if he didn't settle with the 200%. So,
all right. Thank you.
Okay.
So you know what? Hammond taxpayers have to not only pay the increase for their water, but they also have to pay all the legal expenses for all these lawsuits that McDermott ends up putting their community in, and then all the settlements. And most of those settlements you guys don't even know about because most of them are sealed. So individuals who have gotten money, other than like Maria Becerra, who it would had to be publicly announced how much she got and he had to publicly apologize for, most of the time you don't even know.
Well, the issue right now is why are we fighting between Hammond and all of the surrounding communities?
Because the communities have to stand up for their rights. They can't let their constituents, their taxpayers, suffer as a result of something that the mayor of Hammond decides to do.
Yeah, it's really disconcerting. I mean, it's almost the theme of the day is that we have so much going on, and this legislature downstate goes after gun permits,
right.
And then we have so much going on. I thought it was well overdone about LGBT. We talked about it for every day for a week when all we really needed was a stimulus bill about LGBTQ in the military. And now, amongst all this stuff going on, the mayor unilaterally tried to raise rates 400%, and that just miffed all these communities around us.
And Joliet, smart as they were, with Lori Lightfoot over there in Chicago, and that's what other communities that have agreements over in Illinois with Hammond, you know, they might be reconsidering because every time they look around, they want to increase their rate.
Yes, those are definitely.
So here's the difference, Jim.
Illinois,
if they pay for water in Chicago, then any money that they pay over, you know, the usage of what they get, all that goes into their water district. It doesn't pay for anything that the whims of the mayor.
It's I guess in the long run, Verlie, I think that I've been pretty consistent over the years about my dismay about how we squabble amongst our towns, and it really holds us back as an area. And I feel that way. We are really on the cusp of amazing leaps and bounds in terms of our real estate. And if you listen to Don Kalabowski and Karen Lauerman, they got some fish on the line that just I get the